Hi, this is Sky with WiltonLive.com, and we're here in Wilton Manors, Florida for the annual World AIDS Day Vigil and Remembrance Walk presented by the Broward House. This annual event attracts over 1,000 individuals, and we're going to talk with some of the event organizers as well as participants. Thank you for joining us. Why is it important for you to participate in tonight's walk?
For me, participating in World AIDS Day Vigil, it's all about honoring the people that are affected or living with HIV, and of course those who've passed, and that's why I'm here.
For me, it's a good way to spread awareness and help get rid of some of the stigma associated with HIV and AIDS in our community.
It's for those that have passed, for those that are currently suffering, and for those who will be infected. There is a purpose why we're here, to combat the stigma that HIV and AIDS has and really make a stand in the community and let them know that we're here, there's no judgment, there's only love, joy, and hope.
This is something we've been doing for years. It's passionate to our hearts, part of the LGBT Pride group. We've always wanted to give back to our community and be there for the community.
Well, as an African-American female, I recognize the increase in the number of African-American women who are affected by the disease, as well as the families and the loved ones of those who are affected. So in addition to being a Broward House employee, I also recognize the need for people like me to be involved in the fight.
First really started getting involved with it back in the 80s when the big onslaught came. A lot of my friends are no longer here, and I'm walking for them. I am HIV negative, but I'm a big advocate and supporter because so many people have been shunned in their lives, kicked out of their homes, their friends don't want to touch them and things like that. So I'm here for the people who can't walk.
This is my first time here. We were invited by a friend of ours. He does suffer from AIDS. And I think that it's beautiful for him to have the amount of friends that he does here backing him and all of their friends. I see people here who aren't ashamed of their status. They have shirts that say positive. I think you shouldn't be ashamed. It's not a celebratory moment to be here, but it is beautiful to be here with people and know that you're loved and know that you have this community.
I represent one agency, but there's so many different agencies here that are here in unity to show support for all people who have died many years ago or throughout the years due to AIDS.
We have a Viva Glam line where 100% of the purchase price is donated completely to our Mac AIDS Fund. And to date, we've raised over $340 million just to help raise awareness. And every year we actually come out the actual week of December 1st, which is World AIDS Day, to make sure that we participate in all the World AIDS Day things that we can. And so we volunteered last year with over 8,000 volunteers across the nation.
I feel it's important for me to march because of what the political climate is going to come into the next few years. I'm deeply concerned for the future of AIDS treatment, the options that will be made available to people that are less privileged. I'm very greatly concerned for the health of America, particularly those that are living with HIV.
Do you feel that the public perception of HIV and AIDS has changed at all within the past decade, and if so, how?
I do think that it's changed in parts. Again, where I work with both people of color and also people who are living with HIV. And when we talk about HIV in general, there is still stigma, there's still myths that's still in place. But in general, I think that as we go out and communicate and we educate people, that we're hoping that will change as we move forward.
Definitely has changed. It has a long way to go. There's a lot of stigma, even within our own LGBTQ community, where people are kind of looked down. Oh, I wouldn't date somebody who's HIV positive or anything like that. The stigma's there. We've come a long way. We have a long way to go. But it's just like the walk that we're doing today. It's one step at a time.
Well, definitely, the landscape itself has changed. There's a lot more medicine that's available. There's a lot more exposure. There's a greater conversation that's happening. And one of the things that we do is with MAC Cosmetics is every day is World AIDS Day. So we're always trying to continue that conversation and just build that awareness.
West Virginia, it's hard. Like, doctors wouldn't prescribe you PrEP, and that's a big thing. People should have access to these things, and people should be taught about these things. When you conceal these things, then you have a risk of you have a higher risk of catching something and not knowing about it.
I think part of the problem is that the community as a whole has put blinders to it, towards it. It's not spoken of as commonly as it used to be. So I think people need to be reminded about being safe and having safe sex and protecting themselves and protecting others, because I don't know that many people realize the incidence of the spread of the disease.
I'm always really surprised in my line of work, the types of questions that people ask, like if HIV can be transmitted through kissing or sweat. So there's still a lot of work to be done. I do believe that there's also a lot of progress that's been made, but there still is a lot of work that needs to be done.
I think if their perspective has changed, it would be minimal. I think the insurance companies are not looking at patients; they're looking at numbers. And I would be willing to wager that the reason my insurance was tanked was because I started claiming $2,600 a month worth of medication, which is today what my medical regime costs.
I feel people don't, it's not as much of a stigma as it used to be. People are more understanding to it, more compassionate to it. The knowledge is out there, so people are more educated now, and it's not as looked down upon as much as it used to be in the past, which is a good thing.
And it's groups like this that help promote awareness and education so everyone feels included. Inclusive is really what it's all about, regardless of what you are, what your ethnicity is, what your orientation is, or what disease you happen to carry. Everyone needs to be included.
A lot of things don't change until it hits home. So when it's a relative or somebody that's very close to you, a friend or a friend of a friend, then people really start getting educated because they want to understand and be there for the people. So it's really, there's been a lot more education over the years. We still have a ways to go, but it's certainly a lot better than it was 10 years ago.
And how has HIV and AIDS affected you in your life personally in some way, in any way?
Well, I don't know a single person that hasn't been affected by it in some way or another. I'm a psychologist, so I've worked with a number of people who've been affected by it and who are living with the disease. So
I've had friends actually pass from the disease. I've seen people that have recently been infected. I've seen people that have been infected for their entire lifetime. So for me personally, I've kind of seen the disease in all of its forms in current day. I can't say what happened back in the 80s, but it's definitely something that continues to be a stain that definitely we need to continue to focus on and to help those individuals that are affected and infected by HIV and AIDS, because many people don't realize that those infected are also, the family members are also affected by that as well. And there's an entire support group that is really needed around any individual who comes in contact with that disease. And that's part of what we do with the Back AIDS Fund, is just really help to be there and to support our community.
Well, I have a couple of friends that are living with the virus, and I think it's such a great time that we live in. Now that we have medications that make people uninfectious and able to have children, just like anybody else, we have medications that can prevent HIV, and we also have medications that are equivalent to the morning after pill in preventing pregnancy, but preventing HIV. So we basically have all the tools to eradicate this epidemic. People just need to know about it.
What kinds of things do you do to reach out to the community other than tonight's walk?
Well, we also do the AIDS walk every year. We do things that are in tandem with Broward House a lot of times, because I've been very involved with them for many years. Back to when the walk actually started and there was like only 200 people. So we try to just be there for people when they call up or if they need a safe place to come and worship. Our church is open and affirming to everybody.
Many people that I know have passed. Others are battling right now. It's not what it used to be, but it still has a stigma, unfortunately, with a lot of people that don't have the knowledge and the education of what it is to be HIV positive and living with that. It not only affects a person that is suffering with the disease, but also the family around and the friends around.
I was diagnosed in 2008, and unfortunately, my insurance was allowed to cancel me for a pre-existing condition. They used a lot of loopholes, and unfortunately, my income at the time was too high to qualify me for any federal assistance, and I nearly lost my life as a direct result of that.
We are all here together, and together, we are a beautiful force. We are a force that is necessary, because in a world filled with success and joy and triumph, in the face of HIV and AIDS, there still continues to be loss, decimation, and death. While we're here to remember those who we love, to support those who are fighting the fight, to honor those who are no longer here, we also need to look around, gaze upon one another, and recognize the strength that we have in numbers, in community, in family. I hope that tonight, in addition to hearing some amazing messages and being entertained by some very talented people, that you all leave with the knowledge that we are a powerful force, a force that is needed, a force that matters. Without further ado, let's begin our program. Since 2010, this group of men, now over 160 in number, have dedicated themselves to making high-quality music and making the world a better place for LGBTQ people. It's my honor to introduce you to the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida.
No, you will not be alone. And when the day has all but ended, and our echo starts to fade,
My name is Brian Wilson. I am honored to represent SunServe here on Wilton Drive. I am HIV beautiful, the reflection that distorted the soul, the bodies that fell in the streets, the sheets that covered their faces, the crying roses that fell from their hands, the angel at their windows. 25 years of strength.
I'm Leslie Washington from Broward House. The fist of a revolution, the back that didn't break, the dominoes that refused to fall. I am full blown, but still blowing. The house that refused to be knocked down. Only God can knock me down.
Good evening. I'm Lestron Mannix. I represent the Pride Center. I'm HIV beautiful, more human than status, skin and sweat and heart, just looking to be loved. For someone to see through this anatomy, I'm still here. You can kiss me without hesitation. I'm still me. I'm the fight that silenced the war, the soldier that found his way home. There's God in me. Can you see me? I'm HIV beautiful.
I'm Obed Caballero. I'm here representing Latino Salud. I am the care that rebuilt the village, the hands that picked the bodies up. I promise to keep picking them up, to be the voice that never learns silence. There is still work to be done, still knowledge to spread, and we can do it together.
I'm Tom Smith from representing Care Resource. I am HIV beautiful, and my life matters, just as every life matters. I'm the force that denies stigma from letting people die alone. I am a silhouette, no color, no class, no sex.
Good evening, I'm Karen White representing Broward House. This world can't box me in. I am unity. I am you and me, and grace, and hope, and lungs that won't stop me from breathing.
Hi, I'm Kevin Clevenger from the Poverello Center. I am the care that will keep this world from seeing so many ghosts. I am alive and brave, a healthy future, more human than status. I am HIV beautiful.
Did you feel like tonight's event really made a difference in a lot of people's lives?
I think it does. Anytime we have people show up regarding HIV, stigma is still such an issue with many of our folks. For HIV, the LGBT community, a lot of our clients who are struggling with getting medical care and their poverty levels. So there's stigma that surrounds this disease a lot of times. And when somebody stands up, one person stands up, that stigma starts to wear away. When a whole community stands up together, people say, I matter. And I had a client once say to me, when we had a gathering like this, I didn't realize so many people who didn't know me cared about me. And sometimes it takes that care of the community and that acknowledgement of self from somebody else to care for yourselves. So what tonight did was allow somebody left here, I know someone left here and said, they care about me, I'm gonna take care of myself. Right now, 1 in 88 individuals in Broward County over the age of 13 is HIV positive. That's an alarming number. We think anywhere from 1 to 2 out of 5 individuals who are HIV positive are not aware of their status. And if they're not aware of their status, they're not in medical care. We also know some of the fastest growing rates are ages 13 to 24 and men over the age of 50 are our 2 populations that are growing the fastest in new infections. It seems like as a teenager we become invincible, and then over 50 we become invincible. So we have to kind of fill that gap where if we can all talk about it, we won't have new infections. If we can get everybody into care and everybody open to acknowledging this disease, we won't have new infections, and I trust that.
What was the most touching moment for you?
Well, I had a little bit of an epiphany because usually I walk in the walk and I go there and I do my thing and I'm inside the fishbowl and part of the community, but I had a flat tire tonight. So I came right here, and that was the touching moment, just to be here quietly alone by myself and the gay men's chorus rehearsing, and then just seeing my community come towards me with their candle lights one by one. So it was an awesome experience because I've been doing AIDS vigils since the 80s, since New York, and it was a very touching, emotional, just sitting here, having them come here and gather one by candlelight. Since 1981, over 39 million people have died of AIDS, and this is the one only museum in the world. What we do is we educate and enlighten the community, we document and remember the history, and we also just empower the survivors to know that it's a place of hope and education, and a place where we honor you, the people who are survivors, like me, 14 years HIV positive. It's not just about here's a virus and take a medication. It's the most politicized disease. It's the most stigmatized disease. And we're comfortable talking about it, and hopefully are educating people to be comfortable talking about it.
For those first 10 or so years, the World AIDS Day was really about remembrance more than anything. And now as the new drugs and opportunities for treatment have come along, it really has, it's something that helps keep in the forefront the idea of, while we have to remember and celebrate those who've gone before us, we also have a responsibility to be vigilant and to continue to spread the message about testing and treatment and move forward. People in their teens and their early 20s don't ever think they're going to get anything. They don't think they're going to get cancer. They don't think they're going to get HIV. They don't think they can become diabetic, because when you're young, you think you're invincible. So I think it's just, again, when we have some great, at our agency, some great young outreach workers, and they're able to talk one-on-one and into small groups with people their own age, and they'll listen more when it's somebody their own age, I think, talking. It's not necessarily somebody in their 50s and 60s saying it to them. It's people who do outreach work and education in their 20s and 30s, and they really are doing a great job getting the message out to their own generation now. People of my age, we heard the initial message, and then I think there was kind of a lull, especially in education. A lot of school systems still to this day fight the idea of teaching about HIV in the school systems, and we're lucky in Broward County to have a very progressive outlook for HIV education in the school systems, but there are many places across our country where today they still don't talk about HIV in the schools. So there's a lot of people in their 20s and 30s who, because they've never known somebody who's HIV positive, still don't really understand their risk and the behaviors that can possibly infect them. So for our generation, we're trying to keep the word out and keep the message going, and hopefully opportunities like tonight will help those younger people who were in attendance also hear the message that we're trying to spread.
How long have you been doing this?
I started out in AIDS work almost 30 years ago in Indianapolis, where I'm originally from. And so I've been with the AIDS community for 30 years now. This is my first year here in Broward County. I started at Broward House in February. So this is my first AIDS walk in Broward County. I was looking for a job after I moved down here, and somebody said, this is a great organization. They're looking for a development professional. And I applied for the job. And I say to everyone, after the first interview, I called my husband and said, I don't care what they pay, I've got to work there. So I feel truly blessed to be able to work for Broward House.